Hola, amigos. This is Johnny from the Mad Bomber podcast. And today we have a very, very, very special show. There's a little bit of a fight in the community right now about what the Raiders need in the receiver core, who they want to get. You know, a lot of our TMZ reporters want to pick up any garbage that's still out there and see if they're going to, if they can fit a square peg in a round hole. But what we would like to do is welcome back Wyatt Redding. And Wyatt Redding has been doing a very good job on his Sack Blackout podcast. Real quick, I was going to do this at the end, but let's get this out of the way. Why don't you go ahead and talk a little bit about your podcast? I love it. Oracle loves it. Go ahead and give us a breakdown of the Sack Blackout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you like the Mad Bomber podcast, you'll be sure to like the Sack Blackout as well.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of do have a similar vibe over there. It's just kind of three of us talking about, kind of hashing over the Raiders' needs, what we think is going to happen this season, etc. And, I mean, it's just, it's just good times out there. We're just talking about the Raiders, Raider Nation, whatnot. And, make sure to check us out.
And that is at Sack Blackout. And when do those episodes come out, Wyatt?
Oh, we usually upload on Mondays or Tuesdays, and then we have like shorts coming in throughout the week.
Yeah, those are good shorts too. So if you guys are out there and you like the Mad Bomber, the Mad Boomer, whatever you want to call it, check out Sack Blackout. It's great. You and Stevie and what's the gentleman's name that runs it? He's the VP, right?
Yeah, Real About It. Yeah.
Real About It. Yeah. Awesome. This is awesome guys. Yeah, I can't remember. I'm 64 years old. So Wyatt, put on your Clint Kubiak hat. I love your Clint Kubiak.
I haven't done that one in a while.
What do you think? What do you think about the Raiders receiving core right now, going out of the OTAs, running into training camp coming in July?
I mean, I won't lie. Before the draft, I did kind of want to see us add a receiver, but as time has kind of moved on, and now that we're to the point where we're in late May and OTAs have already started, you know what? I'm kind of content with what we have right now. I mean, I trust Spytek and Kubiak's decision making. And, trying to, bolster other parts of the roster and, believing in the guys that we have already on roster at receiver, Jalen Naylor that we brought in free agency, Trey Tucker we already had in-house. And then, mainly guys like Besh and Thornton to get more of a chance to develop more into the new Kubiak scheme. And I'm intrigued by the upside that these guys bring. And I want to see them get more of an opportunity to kind of show off their talents this year in the Kubiak offense. And I think that with Kubiak being the head coach, he knows how to get, as much production as possible out of his players. And I think it's going to bode well for, our talented receivers that we have on roster. So I'm optimistic.
So you're the M&Ms in the bag right now are good. You don't need to get any more M&Ms in your bags. You're good.
Absolutely.
He likes M&Ms. So do I. So who is the first guy you want to talk about today at the Mad Bomber podcast?
Well, yeah. So this guy, he's not actually technically a wide receiver, but he's going to be utilized as a receiver and all over the football field. And that's tight end Brock Bowers. Now, Brock Bowers, he's becoming one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in the National Football League. He kind of reminds me of a younger version of Kelsey, which I know isn't something that Raider fans, necessarily want to admit that they like. But I mean, if he can be anywhere near like what Kelsey is, if not better throughout his career, I'm all in personally. He's going to be used all over the football field. Like I was mentioning, in the Kubiak offense, they're going to use him. I've been reading they're going to use him traditionally as a traditional tight end in line, as well as lining up outside as an X receiver and in the slot and maybe even in the backfield as well. I mean, you look at, Seattle's offense last year, they used Jackson Smith and Najigba all over those positions that I just mentioned. And although he was a traditional wide receiver, I don't see why Bowers can't be used similarly as, he's the best talent on the offensive side of the football in terms of the pass catchers. And that's what JSN was with Seattle. So I think that, Kubiak, he recognizes that while Bowers is a tight end, he wants to get him the ball as much as possible. And speaking of Kubiak's praise for Bowers, he has verbally mentioned that, Bowers, he looks at him as a football robot from heaven. And he literally said that. And
he did. I heard
that Bowers is always going to be open. So those are two traits that, I mean, how could he possibly bode well for Bowers even any more than that? You know what I'm saying? And in OTAs, it looks like Bowers' knee is back to 100% health. He's practicing at full speed, which is something that, Raider fans kind of assumed would happen. But it's good to check that box off, after looking at it, just because, and he's shown immediate chemistry with Kirk Cousins in OTAs. So that's promising to see. And I'm sure that he's going to get more work with Mendoza as Mendoza, kind of transitions from throwing to more of the backups to getting more first team reps as training camp progresses. And one thing for me, I'm looking for Kubiak to kind of, and Janocko and company, to kind of unlock Bowers in the red zone a bit more this season. I mean, I believe he had a 1,000-yard receiving season his rookie season. He's put up a lot of yards in his first couple years in the NFL, but I want to see him get some more red zone looks because he is an absolute freak in the red zone. I mean, you can throw him the ball up high. You can use him on slot routes across the middle, various ways in the backfield. Like I was saying, there's multiple ways you can use him. You throw it up to him, he's going to catch it more often than not. And I think when you look at a Raiders team where their wide receiver core, it's more built on speed, than possession, red zone kind of guys. I think that Bowers, if they can get him the ball in the red zone, get him more looks, more targets, I think he's going to absolutely ball out. And I know this is kind of obvious to say because we all know Bowers is fantastic, but I really want to see it kind of play out in front of, Raider Nation physically.
No, well said. And I do believe that the 12 and 13 personnel is going to be huge for the Raiders this year. I believe Clint Kubiak's going to do that. And I love that what you said about JSN because he did put him in the backfield there, and that creates a mismatch. I mean, you're looking at right now the NFL is going into more 5 defensive back guys, and you're going to get some mismatches. And if you have all 4 of your linebackers out there, and you're going to get a mismatch out there. So I believe Kubiak's going to find that. I mean, come on. This guy's coming in to Ashton Genty, Mayer, Trey Tucker, which he's already said he's loved. We're going to get into him a little bit more right now. So, let's at the end, we'll talk about how all these receivers go together. Right now, we're going to do an analyzation of each one of these guys. So, Oracle, you're going to be batting cleanup right now. And I want you to put your Andrew Janocko hat on.
Ooh. Like this.
Mm-hmm. You thought I was going to say Clint Kubiak, huh?
I did. Threw a curveball
Just
at me.
when you know all the answers, I change all the questions. So, what do you think? You're looking at this offense, and you're going to have your quarterbacks throw to these receivers. What excites you, Andrew Janocko, about what you're going to see? How you're going to have your quarterbacks attack the field with this receiving core?
Well, look, if I'm Andrew Janocko or from Kirk Cousins or from Fernando Mendoza, the main thing that I'm excited about more than anything is the fact of 3 guys, Clint Kubiak, Tyler Linderbaum, and Ashton Genty. We're going to have a nice running game, and we're going to be dedicated to the running game with the outside zone. That's going to be used to set up the pass through play action and through drop back passes as well, because more defenders are going to be down close to the line of scrimmage. That's going to set up the intermediate and downfield passing game. And look, as far as this receiving group goes, I mean, Wyatt said it best. He broke down Brock Bowers great, and Brock Bowers is the main guy in the passing game. And it doesn't matter that he's a tight end. He is the number 1 receiver on the Las Vegas Raiders so far and for the upcoming future as it looks to stand. Now, I think there's some other guys here as well that are going to be developed well. We got some younger guys, and then we also got a nice little free agent that I don't think people are talking enough about that I'm also very excited about.
Yes, and let's go ahead and get into that. Who's your guy that you'd like to talk about first, Oracle?
Well, let's talk about Jalen Naylor coming over from the Minnesota Vikings, who just signed a 3-year, $35 million deal, $23 million guaranteed. He got a nice $6 million signing bonus. He's going to have an average annual salary of just about $11.5 million. Now, the thing about him is he was a number 3 receiver with the Minnesota Vikings, but he also spent time as the number 2 receiver because Jordan Addison had the suspension and he had to step up a little bit in the batting order. Now, Jalen Naylor is a guy, a lot of people think he's just a slot receiver, but he does also play on the outside as well. He could kind of play all 3 wide receiver positions. He could play the X, he could play the Z off the ball, he could also play the slot too. So I'm really excited about this. And look, with the money that he got paid, he will be the number one wide receiver, not including Bowers, on the Vegas Raiders this year. Now, that's going to surprise some people. Some people think it may be Trey Tucker, but I think when you pay a guy this much money, and even though it's not a lot of money for a wide receiver, but if you look at what he's getting paid compared to what Tucker and what Besh and other guys on the roster getting paid, I mean, he is the number one wide receiver for the Vegas Raiders this year. And I think Clint Kubiak, who was with him when he got drafted in Minnesota, is going to find a way to maximize his potential. Now, this is also a homecoming for Jalen Nailor. He's from Las Vegas, and he's coming back to Las Vegas. So I think a lot of people are talking about the impact Trey Tucker could have on the offense, being the number one receiver. But if I really look at the money, I think it's going to be Jalen Nailor who's going to lead the team in snap counts. And I don't know if he's going to lead the team in yards. I don't know if he's going to lead the team in catches, but I think he's going to be on the field a lot. And he's a sneaky run blocker for a team that wants to run the ball a lot. And I think he's going to have a bigger impact than other people think about. And I think as the season goes along, they're going to wish they said to themselves, man, I wish we talked about the signing of Jalen Nailor more in the offseason.
And it's, you know what, if he does have the year you think he's going to have, that could very well be the wide receiver steal of the draft, which is actually what I'm kind of calling him. You nailed it. And I was watching a lot of film on him today before I narrowed down his touchdowns, and he is sneaky at blocking. He's actually a really, really good blocker. I think that's another Clint Kubiak trait. And we'll talk about this later because I'd like to ask you a few questions, both of you guys, a few questions at the end on where these guys are in their blocking, where these guys are in their route running, and who's going to be the yak guy. Who's that going to be? We'll talk about that a little later. So right back up to the top of the lineup. Now hitting for the Las Vegas Raiders is Wyatt. Ready? We're going to go to the red zone. Red zone, what are we going to talk about next? Who's your next guy?
Yeah, my next guy is Trey Tucker, the wide receiver for the Raiders. Now, obviously, so Nailor is making more money, so I do agree with Oracle with that and everything he said. I mean, Nailor is eventually going to be the wide receiver one. I mean, it's no debate. But in OTAs so far, Trey Tucker has been operating as the wide receiver one of the Raiders. And I think it's good to have, multiple candidates to lead the receiving corps ultimately. I mean, last year he led the team with 697 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns of his own. Now with Trey Tucker, it's interesting because he's been with 4 different regimes in his time with the Raiders. He's kind of like the last man standing. He's been there throughout multiple different roster turnovers. And most of that is because of his deep speed threats. Now he perfectly complements, guys like Bowers and Genty with his speed, kind of, giving the threat of being able to take a top off the defense. And so that defenses kind of have to respect that. And then the Raiders offense can ultimately get the ball to their other guys or, Trey Tucker if he's open. And the other thing with Tucker, he's making the second most amount of money on the team behind Nailor. So like Oracle was saying, I do expect Nailor to eventually kind of take a target leadership. But that doesn't mean that Tucker can't have a nice season of his own. I think he could actually end up having 1,000 yards if everything kind of, plays right into what the Raiders are trying to do. And he's been a standout wide receiver at camp so far. I mean, his 4.4 speed is undeniable. And he does have wide receiver one experience. I mean, last season, once Myers got traded, Trey Tucker kind of had to step up as that alpha guy. And I thought that he held his own. I mean, he's not going to be, he's not going to be like a top 10 receiver in the league, but he's a guy that gets often overlooked. And I think that he's honestly one of the more underrated receivers in the league. I mean, you can never have too much speed on a football field. And I think that Clint Kubiak does want to have a lot of speed in his receiving room. And that's why they brought in Nailor and they are keeping Tucker and giving him a prominent role this season.
Yeah, and this is his contract here, if I do believe so. So there's another added incentive. And you are right. He is running with the ones right now in OTAs, but so is Spencer Burford. So it's one of those things where I've never missed a home Raider game since '78. And when where you're at the games and you see where I stand and where the torch is, that guy's open a lot. I mean, he has separation all the time, and it's just not go routes. He's got separation over the middle. This guy is really, really a decent route runner. I would like to see him a little bit better with the yak. But I could tell you that watching him get open, and again, we've had 4 regimes, and perfectly said, and I believe Minshew was just too short to see him. I mean, because there was some times when he really, really, really was wide open, and Minshew just could not get the ball out or just didn't see him. So I think that is an awesome observation. And I would love to see Naylor and him fight it out for the number 1 receiver. That just means production's going up the roof. And we'll see. We'll see. I mean, again, we're still worried about quarterback 1, quarterback 2. It hasn't been set in stone. I believe we know the probability of who's going to start, but we're not there yet, so we're not going to make any assumptions until we know for sure. Oracle, you're on second base. Your turn.
All right, I'm Ricky Henderson on second base here, and I'm going to go with a guy who I think could be a steal if we're going to give a Ricky Henderson shout out of last year's draft, and that's Jack Besh. And
what?
And look, I think people he's a guy who's getting a lot of attention right now in OTAs. There's been some videos about him. There's been some pictures of him where now on Wikipedia he is listed as 6 foot 1 inches and 214 pounds. If you look at some pictures from OTAs, he looks bigger than 214. He looks like he's at least 220, and it's a good 222. He's carrying his weight really well. And I think this is going to be an opportunity for him to step up. I mean, coming into the season last year, he was just not being used a lot with Pete Carroll. They used Dante Thornton more than him, even though Dante Thornton was a 4th-round pick and Jack Besh was a 2nd-round pick. So as the season started, I was kind of like, what's going on here? Like, is this guy a bust? Like, why are they not using him? But as the season went on, week 13, 56% of the snaps. Week 14, 82% of the snaps. Week 15, 81% of the snaps. And then week 16, 72% of the snaps. So as the season went on, they started to utilize him more and they utilized Thornton less. And that's a really good sign for the guy who was drafted ahead of the other guy. And I think with Jack Besh, he's a guy who with his size, a lot of people think he's better on the perimeter. But I thought Matt Harmon of Yahoo Sports, he did a really good breakdown of him. And he was on he was on Jesse Merrick's podcast talking about Jack Besh, and he thinks he's best used as a big slot receiver. And a lot of people think that's tough to have Brock Bowers and Jack Besh kind of 2 big slot receivers, but it can be done. And I think Clint Kubiak is going to find a way to utilize Besh and Bowers on the field together. And I think he's going to be a guy that when Fernando Mendoza takes over, he'll be a good 3rd down option, and he'll also be a good back shoulder thrower for Fernando Mendoza as well. So I'm excited to see the development of Jack Besh in year 2. And I think he can take a step forward this year and start to prove to people that he was worth being drafted where he was.
What do you think about his blocking, Oracle?
Well, with that size, I mean, you would think he'd be a pretty good blocker. Now, look, again, he didn't get on the field a whole lot. And I think he's going to that's definitely going to, with the added weight, he's going to be able to improve that a lot. Definitely. So I definitely think that's going to be his role on the team too, because I think if you have Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers as the 2 tight ends on the field, and let's say you have 2 wide receivers, I think you could put Jack Besh on the weak side, and he could be kind of that weak side blocker. And there you could have the 2 tight ends on the strong side, Besh on the weak side. That's going to keep the defense honest to make sure that they also got to defend the weak side run game as well.
And there you go. Back to what they're going to want to do the most is going to be running the football. So I have totally agree with that. He ever since I saw that Senior Bowl game, I knew nothing about him. And then watching the Senior Bowl game, this guy is the MVP. And then the stories came out. So there's a ton to root for that guy. And obviously, when I've been to this facility 3 times this year, and he's been there each time. And there's he's a guy we can all root for. That's for sure. And we'll talk about where his place is again. Real quick, before we get into anybody else, you're going to come up next yet. What about Shedrick Jackson? Wyatt, what do you think about Shedrick Jackson?
I mean, I think Jackson could be a good, depth piece. I mean, the Raiders, they kind of have an open competition at wide receiver right now, aside from, Naylor, they kind of guaranteed a decent amount of money too. But I think that there's kind of a battle. I'm going to get into it in a bit, but I think there's kind of being a battle for that wide receiver 3 position. And I don't think that Shedrick Jackson should be written off just yet. I mean, I think it's going to be important to monitor how he does throughout the rest of camp, but I think that he has nice hands as well.
Yeah, and speed. Okay, Wyatt, we're going to go ahead and let you go to your next guy, and we are video-less for the rest of the podcast.
Yeah, so this wide receiver absolutely intrigues me, and it is Deontay Thornton. Now, obviously, Oracle just mentioned, he was taken in the 4th round last year. Best was taken in the 2nd round. But I think SpyTech's vision taking those 2 guys was he was taking Best for kind of the reliable, good blocking wide receiver that, can kind of get in the slot and get open across the middle. But with Deontay Thornton, it's kind of like, making a gamble. And I mean, that's what Vegas is all about, right? And taking Deontay Thornton, I mean, if you were to build a wide receiver in a lab, I've been saying this is the guy you would get at Deontay Thornton. I mean, this guy's an athletic marvel. He's 6'5". He runs a 4.3. I mean, those types of receivers don't just grow on trees, And I know that he's a bit of a raw, he's kind of a raw talent. Like last season, as we saw, he got a decent amount of playing time towards like the middle, the beginning/middle of the season. And he kind of disappointed, I won't lie. I mean, there were some plays where he was open downfield. He did everything right, but then he just couldn't come down with the catch. For 40 yards, something like that. And a guy with Thornton, I mean, when you have that type of intangibles, like it's just impossible to kind of give up on at this point, in his career. I mean, going into his 2nd season. Now, I think this guy has a wide variety of outcomes. Like he could end up being one of the top receivers on the team this year, or he could end up getting cut by the time that week 1 rolls around, just due to the fact that, guys like you guys just mentioned, like Shedrick Jackson, Malik Benson, even maybe he starts getting some reps and starts balling out. So I'm really curious to see how Thornton fares the rest of camp. But I want to see this guy get every chance possible, because when you have these types of intangibles and what he did at college, like I just think that if they could unlock something with him, they really have something at that wide receiver position with Thornton.
Yeah, and the word on the street in the OTAs and then at the practices where they're just working out by themselves, as he's been working on his hands, and they showed some film on him where he's using his hands over the middle, and I think you nailed it on the head. There was 3 plays last year on 3rd down which could have sealed a game, and it was a sideline, and he just couldn't come up with a catch. And Oracle and I talked about it earlier in the year, even through preseason, is he just doesn't have tough hands. He doesn't seem like he's willing to hand fight all the way down the sideline, because it looked like what Carroll and Chip Kelly were trying to do is take the top off of him with a big receiver, and hopefully they could, do jump balls and get him involved. I think that's what they were planning on doing, and I think it worked in New England. And then it kind of faded. I even had a decent catch against the Chargers in the first home game. He wasn't afraid to go over the middle, though. I mean, I just watched a ton of tape on him, and he was very, very able to go over the middle and seemed comfortable doing it. So let's not say that he's just a one-trick pony right now. But yeah, if you're in the laboratory, that's the guy you want. I mean, you've made the perfect guy. It's Oracle's AI would love that. Oracle, the AI Oracle. Before I let you go on Deontay Thornton, do you think, I don't remember him playing special teams last year. Do you think that's going to be, I always get this guy's name, Dareke Walker, right?
Dareke Young.
Dareke Young. I always say Walker. Dareke Young. We're going to talk about him later, but I just believe that being as tall as he is, he may be a liability on special teams, and he's going to have to really pop to get into that wide receiver room if he's marginal on the field. So great stuff, Wyatt. That's awesome. Great stuff. And I had big hopes for Deontay Thornton too, but it was that Seattle preseason game. It just looked like he was just a little bit of a little boy out there with his hands. And like you said, he's past everybody. He ran past everybody. So great stuff. Great stuff. Oracle, what are you going to go ahead and as your last premiered wide receiver core player?
Well, I'm not going to go with a wide receiver. I'm going to read you some snap counts from last year.
Okay.
So in week 9, Brock Bowers played 81% of snaps. Michael Mayer played 83% of snaps. Heavy 2 tight ends. Week 10, Brock Bowers, 83% of snaps. Michael Mayer, 62% of snaps. Heavy tight ends. Week 11, Bowers, 97% of snaps. Mayer, 77% of snaps. Now, those 3 weeks, unfortunately, because Bowers and Mayer were both dealing with their own injuries last year, we didn't really get to see a whole lot of these heavy tight ends, 2 tight end sets that really a lot of people think the Raiders offense could be defined by last year. But from weeks 9 through weeks 11, the snap counts I just read you, that's what I really want this offense to be defined by, because I think that's going to be best for Ashton Janty. I think it's going to be best for Kirk Cousins or Fernando Mendoza. And I think it's how Clint Kubiak really wants to design an offense. I mean, last year he would use A.J. Barner with the Seahawks. He would use Eric Saubert. But Barner and Saubert, they aren't as good as Bowers or Michael Mayer, in my opinion. And I think the Raiders offense, when they're going to be at their best this season, if they're fully healthy, is going to be when you could see Bowers and Mayer, and especially Mayer as being the actual inline Y tight end, to allow Brock Bowers to be the F move tight end and move all around the formation. And I think that's really going to be what possibly defines and what people are talking about. If the Raiders were to improve offensively, people will be talking about these 2 tight end sets. And this is also a contract year for Michael Mayer as well. Mm-hmm. And he wants to get paid. Let's just be honest, he's had kind of a disappointing start to his career compared to where he's been drafted. And I really want this to be the year where he breaks out. And he's known as a great blocker. He's known as a reliable receiver, not a great receiver, but a reliable receiver. And I think if this is able to matriculate and able to come into fashion, I think we could be looking at really good things for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, and Michael Mayers, they traded up to get him in his rookie year. And since then, he's had a couple of hiccups. We wish him well. This guy has always been rumored to be traded, yet both of the last 2 regimes, they didn't want to have nothing to do with trading Michael Mayer. And you're right, he is a beast on a 3rd and 3 or a 3rd and 4. He'll fight his way to get that first down. He gets he gets his hands out there, catches it, secures it quickly. You always talk about Brock Bowers having great balance. This guy has great hands and strong hands pulling the ball in. So we're going to stick with you, Oracle. On this receiving core, let's go ahead and include the tight ends as well. Let's go real quick with the tight ends. Carter Runyon versus Ian Thomas.
I'm going to go Ian Thomas.
Why?
Yeah, I think Ian Thomas has a little bit more experience. I mean, Carter Runyon, the most he played was in week 18. He played 13% of the snaps. He's mostly a special teams player. Mm-hmm. And I think Connor Hayward is going to be the primarily special teams tight end / fullback for the Raiders. And I think if Thomas is healthy, I think Carter Runyon does not make the 53-man roster.
Yeah, he'll be back on the practice squad like he was last year. I'm going to ask Wyatt a question number 2. Are the Raiders interested? Do you think the Raiders are interested in either Stephon Diggs or Deebo Samuel?
At this point in the season, I mean, in the offseason, I don't believe so. I mean, if you look at the free agent pool that they brought in, everybody was on the age of 28 or under for the most part. And I think they're kind of trying to build a longer runway for this team. You know, they kind of want to see these guys, these younger players grow together. And bringing in a guy like Deebo or Diggs, I just think that would be kind of counterintuitive to what they're trying to do. I mean, I think if they really did want to bring in, an experienced receiver, they would have done so by now. I think they've also stated that, they want to see Besh and Thornton kind of develop and get an opportunity. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to, maybe getting somebody younger for a favorable price, whether that may be the case. But I don't think that bringing in one of those older, aging wide receivers would really make much sense for the Raiders at this point.
Right. Debo didn't do nothing for the Redskins. They didn't do nothing for the Redskins last year. So I'm going to piggyback on that great comment by Wyatt. He talked about the young runway. Would you be opposed, Oracle, to getting Keon Coleman for a 6th rounder?
I think for a 6th rounder, I think it could be worth it, actually, because, I mean, look, 6th rounders sometimes don't even make the team.
Right.
And if Keon Coleman were to come in, I would be pretty confident that he would make the team over Dante Thornton, just based on, and look, I know he had a rough go of it last year, but there has been some times where he has shined, whereas with Dante Thornton, we haven't seen any shine from him yet. We have the potential that he could shine, but Keon Coleman, you could go on YouTube and actually look at highlights from him. So for a 6th rounder, I think Buffalo's searching for more than a 6th rounder. I don't even know if they're completely opposed to trading him, but in the big grand scheme of things, I think the Raiders are happy with what they have.
I agree. But you right now, and it's just popping up on too many different feeds. And again, anytime there's somebody wants to get rid of someone, I think the league has been comfortable. Each team's been comfortable about putting the Raiders name out there to see if they'll get excited. I don't think Spytek's the general manager that we've had in the past. I believe that Wyatt nailed it by saying their runway is for 28 and under. So I totally believe that. Oracle, I'm going to go back to you. What do you think this offense is going to look like with the Raiders? What do you think the Raiders are going to run more? Do you think they'll run a traditional style offense, or do you think they're going to go more 12-13?
I think there's a chance the Raiders actually lead the league in 12 personnel. That's in 12 personnel is when 2 tight ends are on the field. Now, last year it was Cleveland and Atlanta were the 2 teams that had more 12 personnel than the Raiders did last year. But I think if Bowers and Mayer are fully healthy, they will lead the league in 12 personnel. And I think they will succeed out of it too, because Ashton Janty is going to benefit from having Michael Mayer being an improved blocker, and Brock Bowers could go block the support player, being the strong safety or a weak side linebacker, an undersized linebacker. But I do think that will be their base personnel usage. I would expect the Raiders to be one of because a lot of teams run 11 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers on the field. If you're a team like the Bengals, you're pretty much only running 11 personnel. I think the Raiders are going to be the opposite of that. I think they're going to be towards maybe the bottom 5 in 11 personnel and really try to have 2 tight ends and even get Connor Hayward in at fullback and have Bowers, Mayer, and Hayward on the field at the same time and have just 1 wide receiver. I think that could be a personnel package the Raiders have some success in.
I totally agree with you. Wyatt, let's keep the receiving, and then I'm going to let you finish with your last reply of the night. How do you think they're going to use you just said Connor Hayward and Ashton Janty in the passing game?
Yeah. I mean, with Hayward, his blocking, I think, is going to be featured quite often. And I think that the Raiders really want to reinvent the running game. That's a big reason why Kubiak was their guy. And I mean, if you look at Seattle, I mean, that's what they did. They just ran. I think they had the highest run rate in the entire NFL. And that was with, running backs that weren't as talented as the guys that we have. I mean, with Janty, I mean, he is easily going to break out this season if they can scheme him correctly. And I think that they will be able to do so. I mean, they're going to implement that wide zone running scheme. I think Hayward is going to be often used as a blocker, as well as, Mike Washington, I think, is also going to get some time in there as well when they want to spread Janty out wide. They might even use Janty as one of their pass catchers in certain circumstances, kind of like Christian McCaffrey usage. Not saying he's going to be the next Christian McCaffrey, but that type of style of usage where you're using Genty as a receiver, and you're getting guys like, Hayward and Washington. Maybe even, if Hemby makes the team, he could get some chances as well on third downs, though I do think Genty is going to get most of the lion's share of the work and even third down reps. So I think they have a lot of options to go within the red zone as well. They want to punch it in with Hayward, Mike Washington as well, with his 6'2" frame. But I do think Genty is going to get the lion's share of the workload.
Yeah, and I think Kubiak was mentioning that in his press conference that he wanted to see, seemed like, and I'm paraphrasing, he wanted to compare Genty to getting the touches that Christian McCaffrey gets. So, Wyatt, thank you very much for coming on today. Oracle, what do you think about the Raiders? The Raiders backfield, the Raiders using the backfield for passing?
Yeah, definitely. I think when you draft a running back 6 overall, you want him to be a complete back. You want to be able to run. You want to be able to block, but you also want to be able to catch as well. And I definitely think, remember in the Jacksonville game when they had that Ashton Jeanty touchdown where Geno Smith found him in the flat and he was able to take it to the house. And then he had another one too. I can't remember the game. But
it was the Texans.
It was the Texans game. Yeah, definitely. And I definitely think Ashton Jeanty is going to be the guy who's there on third down. He'll be able to be a pass protector, but I think he'll also be a check down guy, and he'll also run some routes too and be I don't think he'll be exactly like Christian McCaffrey. I think that's a rare breed right there, but I think he'll be somewhere close in that regard. And I'm curious to see how Mike Washington is as well, how he develops in terms of being a receiver.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, because he caught some check down passes. He wasn't really a route runner, and he needs to work on his pass protection if he's going to be on the field on obvious passing downs as well.
That's Washington's. That's another fun one that's going to be cool to watch in the preseason games to see how they use them. And again, the Mad Boomer podcast is really going to be excited when they do these dual practices with the Texans, because I believe that's going to be where you're going to find your ones, your twos, your threes, and your goodbyes. So, hey guys, great stuff again, but this show's not over. What? So you guys are young men, and I'm sure that, there's always a chance that you guys could get a missus, maybe have a couple puppies. We want to congratulate our boy Naylor right there, Jalen Naylor, on his second girl. Jalen Naylor with girl number 2. Jalen, buy lots of guns because I'm sure they're going to be very, very good looking girls. And guys, if you have anything to say, wish Mr. Jalen Naylor. He's a regular watcher of the show, allegedly.
Hey, congratulations, Mr. Naylor. By the way, you got a really nice kitchen as well. I just got to say that as well. But most importantly, congratulations on the baby.
Yeah, and all of his doors are closed, unlike yours. I was waiting for it to say that.
Oh, you saved that till 38 minutes in. Wow. You had that one in the holster.
Well, I couldn't say anything about Wyatt's hat. Wyatt wore a very straight hat today, so I couldn't pop off about his hat. Jalen, do you have Wyatt? Do you have anything to say to Mr. Jalen?
Yeah, it looks like he's getting comfortable here in Las Vegas, and I just want to say congratulations, and can't wait to see him balling out this year with the Raiders.
Absolutely,
on the football field.
Yeah, that's again. We got a lot of. It's going to be interesting to see. All my buddies we're all talking about what away games we're going to, and then my friends are talking about which games are going to accompany me with at Allegiant, and it's going to be quite exciting this year to see. And then we also have one more wishful thought. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh, wow.
Tyler Linderbaum, another guy who allegedly watches the show regularly, is got married. Congrats to Mr. Linderbaum. On the 9th of May, he married his longtime sweetheart. So don't be calling her a gold digger. Rachel Tandy, congratulations on marrying Mr. Raider. Now he's going to be securing our offensive line. Make sure that all the food groups are represented every day, Miss Rachel. we need to make sure that our boy is slamming people and pancaking people. So may you want to take it easy on the pancakes so he can lay down the pancakes. Is there anything you'd like to say to Wyatt? We'll start with you. Is there anything you'd like to say to Tyler, a frequent watcher of the show, allegedly?
Yeah, I mean, I was already stoked to see him coming into Vegas, and now he just got that contract with the new team, implementing a new culture, and now he's getting married. I mean, what more could you ask for as a guy,
Mm-hmm. You may be joining Jalen Naylor here real soon. Oracle, would you like to say something to the center one for the Las Vegas Raiders?
Mr. Linderbaum, congratulations. And I wonder who paid for the wedding. I think we all know the answer to that question. And I like this. He's married now. He's focused. He's going to be able to dial in on that playbook, work on his footwork and the zone blocking scheme. And, yeah, definitely. This is great stuff. This is really great stuff to see.
That's cool. I mean, it is cool to see. It's like there's so much other stuff going on in the NFL right now that I will never talk about. So stuff like that really is cool. It's fun. So, guys, if you want to see the red zone, is that what they're calling? They're calling you the Wyatt's red zone, right?
They're calling it 4th and Wyatt. They gave me a new nickname. 4th
and Wyatt. I love it. What do you think, Oracle?
I love it. Yeah, definitely. 4th and long, 4th and wide. It's got a nice little ring. You seem like the kind of guy who could shake off an edge rusher and fire one down the field. So I can definitely see a good 4th and wide right there.
Me and Oracle will trip the guy and then get a 15-yarder. Oh. So, all right, Oracle, nice seeing you guys. Thank you very much. If you didn't know this, guys, this was tape recorded. So you were seeing it on Sunday, but this was recorded on Saturday. We took our Saturday to help you guys out so we could keep this podcast rolling. Guys, thanks a lot. We are up to 290 subscribers. So if you do like it, like and subscribe. If you like Johnny's Donuts, like and subscribe. I mean, who doesn't like a donut? I mean, I think they make vegan donuts too, allegedly. So, and I heard Tyler Linderbaum loves Johnny's Donuts, allegedly. So, guys, we will see you soon. Wyatt, we will have Wyatt back in July. Wyatt, I'm going to figure out what's a good time to get you in. Maybe let's get you in. We'll talk about it. But sure. Much success with you on your podcast. I love it. You have solid guys there, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Oracle, put your John Spytek hat on. Did you close the door?
The wind closed it, allegedly.
He's got ghosts. All right, guys. Yeah. We will see you next Sunday at 6:30. Good night now.
Good night now.
Now it's Siani to the left. Biletnikoff to the right against Marsalis. Back is LaMonica. Throws for Biletnikoff. Touchdown Raiders! Biletnikoff is having words right now with Marsalis. Fred caught that ball after quite a physical battle with Marsalis in the right corner of the end zone. He went on out of the end zone, and then instead of slamming the ball into the turf, he ran back in about 10 yards to where Marsalis was and defiantly slammed it in the turf in front of Marsalis. The two tight ends are lined up as tight ends. Back goes Darrell to pass. He's looking for Smith, but instead goes down the middle. Chester, touchdown Raiders! Holy Toledo! What a great call! 19 yards and a Raider touchdown to make it 22-3. Chester had gotten free at the 5 and was all alone in the end zone 2 yards in. The Chargers now have a brilliant opportunity to put this game away. Here's Williams to the left, Garrison to the right, flanks right, Charlie Smith out to the left as a wingback, leaves only one back to block, that's Hubbard. LaMonica back, gets fine blocking, now he throws down the middle, Branch at the 20. Branch at the 18, tripped up, keeps going, reverses to the 15, he's at the 10, he dances down to the 9-yard line. First and goal to go Raiders. 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, and hang on to your hats. Branch is still in. He goes to the right, slotted inside Biletnikoff. 5 defensive backs in there. LaMonica gives to Smith, sending him to the left. He's got Upshaw in front. He's at the 5. He's at the 2. It's a touchdown Raiders! Charlie Smith from 9.5 yards out. Oakland has gone in front. Clarence Davis is in for Charlie Smith. He's a deep threat on pass reception. Back goes Stabler to pass, steps away from the rush. He's going to run up the left side. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Touchdown, Oakland Raiders! I'm sorry I've lost my voice. Kenny Stabler